right, welcome to the Young Turks. Great show ahead for you guys today. Jam-packed show. We are actually going to have a guest in this hour. He is well-known cartoonist Ted Rall. He is going to fight the Obama bots, and that is going to be a fascinating interview. New article out in New York Magazine about Fox News Channel and how they secretly control the Republican Party. Not much of a secret, of course, but there are great details in that. We're going to get to that in a second. Lots of funny campaign news. We're going to start with that in a minute. That's coming first. And then second of all, it's not that we just have new news on Ryan's Medicare plan. It's that there's some really funny videos to show you about it. Oh, and by the way, yes, I know I have a new haircut. And yes, it's a little schwang wang wang. What to do? Back to supercuts. Not the fancy ones I used to get at MSNBC in New York. Anyway. You ready? Here we go. Major news.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Down goes Daniels. Down goes Daniels. Mitch Daniels. Now, we didn't really get him at all. He got himself. His family got him. This is actually a really rare case where they say, oh, well, I didn't want to run because of my family. And it's actually true. Well, we told you his wife, Sherry, had divorced him in the 90s, and she left him for 4 years, went to California, was with another gentleman, got married to him, got divorced, and then came back. Part of that story was that she left the kids with him, now which we thought spoke well of him, but not so much of her. And that was beginning to be a big issue, and where people were asking, did she abandon the kids? And the Daniels had already put out statements saying, no nonsense, she also had a house in Indiana, and they had shared custody, and she would often see the kids, and they're back together, and it's a happy ending. But in the end, they didn't love that happy ending, and they were really worried about what it would do to their family. And I actually believe them. This doesn't have anything else to do but the family, because you know why? The Republicans were begging Mitch Daniels to get in. They're like, please, please, the rest of the guys suck. We need you. Now, the minute he got into the race, they would have realized he sucked too. Right? But nonetheless, they're dying for a hero that doesn't exist. Because they want a guy who is both incredibly conservative, so the Tea Party guys and the primary voters in the Republican Party be like, yes, kill, crush, break the spinal cord and drink the fluid. And at the same time, be moderate enough to beat Obama in a general election. Now, who the hell is that guy? There is no such guy. But they keep hoping, like, oh, no, but if I get him, oh, he'll be awesome. And if Mitch Daniels had entered the race, the social conservatives would not like the so-called social truce that he wanted to call on social issues. He didn't really follow through on that truce because he defunded Planned Parenthood in Indiana. But he didn't want to talk about gay rights. They wouldn't have liked that. And then when you get into whether he was a real fiscal conservative, in fact, he was the budget man, as Bush would say, for George W. Bush. And they destroyed the budget. And that was his main call to, calling card. So once he got into the heat of the race, people have been like, this guy's just as schwang wang wang as the rest of them, right? So, but they had temporarily gotten excited, and now Daniels has taken himself out. You know that since the year began, he is the 6th Republican to withdraw from the race. Mike Pence, who was barely a possible candidate to begin with, but then you had John Thune, who was a real candidate, Haley Barbour, Mike Huckabee, which was huge, Donald Trump, and now Mitch Daniels. Look, the two biggest are Daniels and Huckabee. The fact that those two left, oh, right now, this is what's going on at Mitt Romney headquarters. Booyah! At Tim Pawlenty headquarters, also a little bit of, but not as much, because Romney's got a huge fundraising lead. Pawlenty is now repitching himself as a Buick. I'm not kidding. He said, Romney has all the money. He's the BMW or the Mercedes, but hey, I'm a Buick or a Cadillac. Well, first of all, there's a big difference between Buick and Cadillac. No disrespect to Buick. That was my first car, Buick Skyhawk. You know what I am? I'm a Pontiac Grand Am. Anyway, so Mr. Buick is trying to get people excited. He even put out a little statement saying, look, I'm not the exciting one in the race. If you want a comedian, that's not me. Tim, please. But you know what? the field has gotten so thin now. The reason I bring up Palin is because, I think he's a joke and has no chance. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, maybe Tim Pawlenty has this much of a chance. Because there's almost no one else left. Who's going to win? Michelle Bachmann? Newt Gingrich? I already eliminated all these people. So, I hate to break it to them, but they got no chance. So now all there's left is Mitt Romney. So I'm like, I don't know and that's what all the Republicans are saying. I don't know who's left. Oh, that boring guy from Minnesota who has no accomplishments to his name, none. The one accomplishment was that he was for cap and trade, which he's now backpedaled on and is not for anymore. And that's the state of the Republican field, man. It is a disaster. So, and right now, everybody, Eric Cantor, House Majority Leader for the Republicans, is saying, it's early, other people can get in. Man, that's such a diss to the Republicans in the field right now. It's like, these guys obviously suck. Come on, look at these losers. But other people can still get in. Roger Ailes, apparently head of Fox News, tried to bring Chris Christie in. He had a little powwow of like the three Republican large men, Roger Ailes, Rush Limbaugh, and Chris Christie. He brought them to his house in upstate New York and tried to get Chris Christie to enter the race. Apparently, they ate him out of house and home, but look at me making fat jokes. That ain't right. Okay, I'm doing this in a glass house. This is a glass studio I live in. Anyway, but Chris Christie in the end apparently said no. Now, Rick Perry says he has no intention of running, but that means that he might run. Like, now we're so far afield that Perry's thinking, I don't know, social conservatives, I go and I grab them, I win Iowa, maybe I can do this thing. And I begin to think, maybe, I don't know. Tim Pawlenty, I don't know. Maybe. It's a sad, sad field, man. Look, one possibility is that they're scared of Obama. I can't believe that, really. And not because I don't think the president has done a good job. I have mixed feelings about that. But the unemployment rate's 9%. If I was a potential presidential candidate, I'd be like slobbering, like, 9%. Let's go get the guy. But everybody's running for the hills. I don't think that's why Daniels ran for the hills. But like Chris Christie, he's probably the one guy that probably is not entering because he thinks 2016 will be a better opportunity. But look, if you're a Republican, I think you're crazy. I think this is an amazing opportunity. The only problem is your own voters. They're never going to let you get past the primary without being crazy. So, but that's a problem you're probably going to have for a while. All right, so now those are the important parts of this election news. Now let's get to the fun part. Now, Newt Gingrich has been in a world of trouble, man. He said Ryan's Medicare plan was social engineering and radical, and then just crying, we're like, please, I apologize, Raj, please stop hitting me, Wall Street Journal, stop it. So he was in bad shape. He apologized like approximately 28 and a half times, right? So now he goes on Face the Nation. He's like, all right, at least we're past that. Now they bring up the issue of how he had either a quarter or a $500,000 bill from Tiffany's, the jewelry place. And Bob Schieffer is not going to let this thing go, man. By the end, I almost felt bad for Newt. Watch this.
I want to ask you about this bizarre revelation that came up last week, that your wife in 2005, 2006 filed a financial disclosure because she was working for the House Agriculture Committee that revealed that you owed between $250,000 and $500,000 million to a jewelry company. What was that about, Mr. Speaker?
Well, first of all, it's about obeying the law. She filed a disclosure. It's been sitting there for 5 years. We're private citizens. I work very hard. We have a reasonably good income. I currently owe nothing except I owe one mortgage on a house that's rental property in Wisconsin. Everything else is totally paid for. My home is paid for. My cars are paid for. We don't have a second house. We don't do, we don't do elaborate things.
Did you owe $500,000 to a jewelry company at one point?
We had a revolving fund.
Well, what does that mean?
It means that we had a revolving fund. That it was an interest-free account.
Who buys $500,000 worth of jewelry on credit?
No, go talk to Tiffany's. It's a standard, no interest account.
How long did you owe it?
I have no idea, but it was paid off automatically. We paid no interest on it. There was no problem with it. It's a normal way of doing business.
Well, I mean, it's very odd to me that someone would run up a $500,000 bill at a jewelry store.
Go talk to Tiffany's. All I'm telling you is we are very frugal. We, in fact, live within our budget. We owe nothing.
What did you buy?
We owe nothing. Well, it's my private life.
Jesus Christ, what did you buy? He's like, how did you run up $500,000 at Tiffany's? Man, he hit him and he hit him and he hit. I've never seen so many follow-up questions by a reporter in my life. By then, I was saying, hey, Bob, ease up on the guy, man. First of all, his wife already took him for $500,000 at Tiffany's. Now you're going to come and clobber him over the head with it. I love Bob. He's like, no, hold up, dog, hold up. Let me get this straight. $500,000. We're not talking about $500, right? We're talking about $500,000, right? He said, but what the hell did you buy, man? Gingrich's just like, dude, get off my jock. All right? I don't know. I bought her some stuff. By then, Gingrich was saying,
oh, give me a break.
That was awesome. The one part where Gingrich was, of course, being ridiculous is like, we live a frugal life. Oh, come on, dude. $500,000 at Tiffany's is not a frugal life. And listen, you made a lot of money by selling out to corporations. You spend it on anything you like. It's a free country. But it ain't frugal, right? And by the way, how expensive are those mistresses? Remember that she's his second mistress turned third wife, right? How do you get those? Apparently you get them by getting $500,000 credit line at Tiffany's, which she apparently took advantage of. In fact, she probably thought,
go to it, champ.
She went into Tiffany's and she went to it. Yeah, but what the fuck did you buy? It's like, that is crazy, man.
It so reminded me of an old man who's like, man, I remember back in the day we buy some jeans for 35 cents. How are these $100, $200 jeans? What the fuck? What did you do? Who is this chick, man? She better be bad.
I think that might have been my favorite segment on Face the Nation in a long, long time. We got to maybe get us some clip out of that or something. No, but wait, hold up now. What, he asked like 4 or 5 follow-up questions. There's never been more follow-up questions in a Sunday talk show in my life. All right, so that's funny, situation number 1. So Newt can't get rid of the problems. All right, point number 2. Herman Cain, he is gaining a lot of steam within the conservative movement. Is he a real candidate? Come on. Probably not, but on the other hand, look, he's won a bunch of polls, right? And he's a real social conservative, and there's one thing Herman Cain cares about, and that is the United States Constitution, and he's going to let us know. Pay attention to this clip.
We don't need to rewrite the Constitution of the United States, rewrite it. We need to reread the Constitution and enforce the Constitution. We don't need to rewrite, let's reread. And I know that there are some people that are not going to do that, so for the benefit of those that are not going to read it because they don't want us to go by the Constitution, there's a little section in there that talks about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You know those ideals that we live by, we believe in, your parents believed in, they instilled in you. When you get to the part about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, don't stop right there. Keep reading. Because that's when it says, when any form of government becomes destructive of those ideals, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. We've got some altering and some abolishing to do.
Herman. You're going to go ahead and give that speech, that fiery speech about reading the Constitution, and you didn't bother reading it. That is so sad. Of course, a lot of you are saying right now what I said when I heard that speech. I was like, what? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that's lovely. But that's in the Declaration of Independence. That ain't in the Constitution. How about the second part about we can abolish the government if it is, et cetera, et cetera? That's also the Declaration of Independence. Okay? He didn't quote a single part of the Constitution. No, but the thing is, it's one thing to say, all right, look, I care deeply about the Constitution, and then get it wrong. It's another thing to give a speech about the Constitution and get it wrong. But it's a third thing to say, hey, you know what? The problem is they never even read it when you didn't read it and you quote the wrong document. Man, that's just embarrassing. But it goes to something substantive because conservatives, they use it as a punchline, the Constitution. They use it as a prop, something to cover themselves up in, like the flag. Did they actually read it? Do they know what's in it? Do they care what's in it? No. So when, for example, Bush did warrantless wiretapping and shredded the Fourth Amendment, did they know? Did they care? No, of course not. They don't give a damn. All they want to do is say, in the Constitution, it says we are endowed by our Creator. No, that's the Declaration of Independence. By the way, a mistake other Republicans have made in the past. Please actually read the documents if you're going to give a speech about it. They were unbelievable, man. But that's what happens when you're in a party that has no attachment to the facts. They're like, who cares? I'll give the speech about how you got to read the Constitution without reading it. Who cares? My followers don't know the facts anyway. All right, so that's Herman Cain. Now, speaking of clowns in the Republican field, Donald Trump says he might re-enter. Oh,
give me a break.
All right. You're forcing me to make one quick comment on it. Okay. Look, he mentioned Ross Perot earlier. You remember that? Now, you think that was an accident that he mentioned the one guy who left the race and then came back, and now Trump left the race and is thinking of coming back? Now, why might he have done this? So that he didn't have any television problems, so that they could announce the NBC schedule for next year, and he could be as part of The Apprentice, and then so that he doesn't reveal his financial records, but he could still try to get press off of possibly re-entering the race. Okay, enough of that. And then finally, Frank Bailey, a former top advisor to Sarah Palin, has written a tell-all book. Nah, it's not much of a tell-all book. I mean, I've read some of the summary of it. No, I've read the summary of it with what's apparently in the book. It's not that much. I mean, she violated some law when she shot an ad for a governor's group that she shouldn't have been coordinating with. Okay, that's bad. I mean, you put it in, but it's not a major revelation. And then he says that she wouldn't show up to events that were planned ahead of time. Now, look, again, it's not. I don't think that's that big a deal. It's not like, oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, we got her or anything like that. But I am slightly amazed by that. I'm amazed by people who are like, yeah, you know what? I'm just not going to show up to something I said I'd show up to. If I did that with anything, I'd be mortified. I'd feel so bad. I'd feel sick to my stomach. She was governor. She'd be like, oh yeah, Doug, I'm totally coming there. Yeah, I'll be in Anchorage. Yeah, absolutely. Plan that event around me. Say Sarah Palin is coming, the governor is coming, etc. And then she just wouldn't go. Why? Who knows? She didn't feel like it. Okay. Anyway, I'm just on a personal level, I'm amazed by that. All right, look, we have an excellent guest for you guys. He is against the Obama bots, so that should be nice and controversial. We will do that when we return. Then afterwards, major revelations on Fox News. I have the story of the Saudi woman arrested for driving, which is fascinating. And then we got a ton on Medicare. All right, so come right back. All right, welcome back to the Young Turks. Cenk, you got Jackie Brace in the house.
I'm back.
Yeah, indeed. Star of Reality Bites back on TYT shows. Hello.
Yep. She's a bad, bad girl. Yeah.
All right, Jackie, great to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back. I'm excited.
Yeah, we haven't done this together in a while.
I know, it's been a little while, but hopefully I'm going to bring my A game.
All right, okay. Well, I'll try to bring at least a B+ game, see what happens.
You always bring your A,
Okay.
at least an A-.
Sure. All right, we got a lot of great stories.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah, what's up first?
Okay, well, this story might scare some of you guys out there, but Viagra might be making you go deaf. Now, there are 47 cases of sudden hearing loss related to taking Viagra. And now there's 223 possible reports, but there's a little lack of detail. But, I mean, that's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, no. It now explains everything, by the way. Okay, because think about this. Now, another thing that makes you go deaf is if you overdose on OxyContin, right? And we always thought that's why Rush Limbaugh had gone deaf, right?
Oh, okay.
And it probably is because he took barrels full of OxyContin, okay?
All right.
But he also took barrels full of Viagra, apparently. He went on a trip to the Dominican Republic, okay, with a bunch of guy friends. And when he came back, without registering the prescription drugs, he brought back a lot of Viagra.
Oh.
And that's the stuff he brought back, let alone the stuff he used at the Dominican Republic and What they use it for, I don't know. I'm not saying anything,
That
but he
sounds
went with a
weird.
bunch of guys. So I
Yeah.
don't know why you bring it with a bunch of guys unless you're going to meet some girls there.
Hope
Or,
so.
either way, it doesn't sound too good.
That's quite a cocktail. Oxycontin and Viagra.
Yeah, it is quite a cocktail.
Now, this is the only problem. I mean, okay, yeah, I heard it in those commercials they always say, oh, the side effects or all this stuff that nobody pays attention to. But then again, nobody's gonna stop taking this. They'll be like, oh, fuck it, I'll go deaf.
Right. I'm wondering, like, if you guys can decide, would you rather, have an awesome sex life or be able to hear? I'm wondering.
Well, first of all, I don't have to make that decision. So,
Of course not. Of course not.
Okay. Second of all, it depends. If it's like zero sex life versus an awesome sex life, and I'm having trouble hearing, I'm gonna have to crank the TV up to like 60, like my dad does,
Right.
so you can hear it in the basement and the attic. Well, I'll go with that. Okay. But
Yeah.
if it's a small gradation in sex life and I can't hear at all, no, I'm going to keep my hearing. But by the way, it's serious. I mean, look at this. Researchers found that 1 in 3 men over the age of 40 who took Viagra suffered hearing loss, while only 1 in 6 of those not taking the drug suffer the same fate. So it basically doubles your chances, apparently. And it's not
Right.
that high a percentage chance that you're going to go deaf, but it doubles your chances if you're over the age of 40 and taking Viagra, if the research is true. That's pretty serious.
And the FDS is just warning about the possible side effects. Shouldn't they be doing something a little bit more drastic?
No, because as you rightly point out, people who are taking Viagra will never let it go. So if you were like, hey, maybe we should take it off the market because it's maybe making you go deaf, they're like, dude, it's cool. In fact, they'll say, what?
We'll deal with our hearing aids. It's fine.
What? Get it? All right, anyway.
That was a good one.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've heard about the new Playboy sex survey.
I have indeed. I'm fascinated by it.
These polls are amazing. I'm kind of excited to go over them with you.
That's what she
I
said.
want. Oh.
Yeah, I can't say that. Right? That's so. All right, that's the
It's
office.
okay.
Okay, all right.
But now, I love that they're saying 59% of women surveyed have faked an orgasm. I'm going to say that it's more than 59%.
So I wouldn't know, of course. because,
In
but-
my opinion, I'm
Right.
going to say it's a whole lot more than 59%.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm amazed that women bother to fake it, to be honest with you.
Well, you don't want to hurt your feelings.
There's, I know it's obviously why, but it's funny, the difference between men and women obviously would be much harder for a man to fake it. But,
Right.
with a condom, it's, I suppose, possible, right? But, 3 men in the history of the world have faked an orgasm. Apparently, men feel no compunction to, pretend they enjoyed it. They either did or they didn't,
Right.
Whereas women are like, oh, we got to make him feel better. Oh, sink their lawn. Oh, you rock my world.
Yeah, we sometimes care about feelings, but we really shouldn't. So really, it's not fair to the other ladies who come after us, really.
Uh-huh.
But
It might also be like you're married and you're like, oh, yeah, honey, you knocked it out of the park. We'll be all right. Let's go to sleep.
that could be true. Now, there's also 45% of readers have said that they had sex with more than one person in the course of a day. Does this gross anybody else out besides me? Or are you guys just jealous? I'm really disturbed. I find that very disgusting.
Yeah, totally.
I know, it's
Totally
like a room full of dudes and
outrageous.
Misty.
Outrageous. Well, it is possible that, for example, someone could have slept over someplace and in that morning had some relations, got home,
I guess.
showered, then at night had other relations. I hear that's possible. Some friends of mine have done that.
Right. We won't name them.
Which I thought was kind of cool of my friends to do. But now I hear it's kind of gross.
I think that's really gross. Well,
right.
and that's hoping that people are taking a shower in between.
Yeah, I agree. If they don't
Right?
take a shower, then I'm in the gross camp.
I have a feeling if most of them are just trying to get as many partners in a day, they're not really too worried about showers.
No, well, first of all, according to the poll, 100% of men are trying to get as much as they possibly can during every single day.
Definitely.
Okay, so that doesn't really disqualify anybody.
Well, now, I also kind of found this to be a little disturbing, is that 46% of readers from the Midwest have never been tested for AIDS or HIV.
Yeah, note to self.
Do they think it doesn't reach them? And
They're like, oh, that's all.
Oh, that's only on the coast.
Right, that's all the way in San Francisco and New York,
Those
Missouri.
are for the slutty cities, right?
Yeah. No, nobody in Kansas City has AIDS or HIV,
Yeah.
except for all the ones that do.
Yeah.
So, But seriously, I read that and I thought, note to self: don't have unprotected sex with people in the Midwest.
Right. That's where you're really going to have to wrap it up.
By the way, you should wrap it up every.
Always.
Okay. Okay. Public service announcement brought to you by the Young Turks. All right.
We try and do our part.
So what else do we have?
Well, I thought it was interesting that 52% of readers ages 25 to 34 have had sex with a coworker.
Also guilty. Okay. You've never had sex with a coworker?
Well, no. Well, okay, yeah.
Okay. All right. All of a sudden. Okay.
Does it count as a coworker if they were technically my shift manager at Abercrombie?
Totally.
Okay.
She's a bad, bad girl.
Okay. Well, of course that counts. That's exactly your coworker. Well, how would that not count?
I don't know. He's a manager. I don't know if there was a blurred line there.
Does it count if it's my secretary? Yeah.
Well,
Does it count if it's my
I'm more
boss?
embarrassed by the whole thing. So.
Okay. All right. No, look, that makes perfect sense. I'm surprised it's only 52%.
Really?
Yeah, look, I have a friend, the Big Earl, has this very important policy on this matter.
Okay.
He says he does not sleep with any girls at work unless they're hot. Okay.
So are the percentages of that high or low?
Well, I don't think he really gets laid at work anyway, but, okay.
I'm an optimist.
But he's not, I mean, like, yeah, I won't have sex with girls at work that are not hot either. Okay, but that's mainly because they're not hot.
Right.
Okay, now this was, of course, all back in the day when I was single, and I was a wild, wild man. Okay, anyway, but look, I had sex with somebody at work. Why? Because I knew them. So it's much harder to go and find someone you don't know, whereas, like, you know, I'm a little George Costanza. You know, if I'm in the same room with you, over time I might wear you down, right?
Okay.
So I have an advantage at work, but if I'm just out in the street, it's not like somebody looks at me and goes, "Oh, I got to get a piece of that." So that's why I had to do it. Now that was all back in the day. Now we work in a total sausage fest. So you know.
There's a lot of dudes here.
Yeah. You, Misty, and Anna, I think you're the only ones,
the only
right?
females, I
and
think.
you and Misty are new. Before you guys came,
Right.
it was
Anna
it
was
was
the Lone
just Jill
Ranger.
and then just Anna, and so anyway, but back in my wild crazies, singles.
Well, back in your single days, were you one of the 5% of males that admitted to having sex with more than 100 people?
No, but I would have loved to have been.
I find that to be very disgusting as well.
Get out of here!
That's
No,
over
I'm not
100
buying
people?
it. I would have loved that. In
Ew.
fact, that was my goal. And in fact, I bet Jill, and I paid her on that bet, that I would have gotten to 100. But then I, wussed out and got married. Okay, and if I hadn't gotten married, I think I could have hit 100. No, that was my lifetime goal.
Are you choosing quality over quantity?
A little bit.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like to get to 100, you really got to be desperate and going for anything.
No, I wouldn't.
Are chicks easier than I give them credit?
No, they're inordinately
Some people
difficult.
are saying yes.
No. They might be easy for JR, Mr. Suave, Mr. I turn down sex. Okay.
Oh, right.
But like for most guys who are single, nobody's turning sex down. And
Okay.
So, look, would I have liked quality and quantity? Absolutely.
Well, who
okay.
doesn't?
Do the best you can, right? But we had a little bit of both at different parts of our lives.
Okay.
Let me ask you something.
All right.
What's your ideal number of guys in your
My
lifetime?
ideal number?
Yeah.
For me?
Yeah, because I mean, you can't say one. One's absurd, right? At this day and age. I'm putting you on the spot, okay? I mean, obviously you're not in favor of 100, so it's somewhere between 1 and 100.
I don't know if I could think of a specific number, because for me, it's just keeping that number as low as it can be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Don't you want a little variety, though?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm not trying to get to 100, but I think you have to go by age. I don't know. That's really hard to pick just like a number.
I have a number for you guys.
Okay.
I think the ideal number for women, they would say, and I don't know if this is real, right? But they would say 7. Okay? And here's what I was...
I was thinking way higher than that.
Oh, really? Okay, never mind.
I don't know. I
She's
was
a
thinking
bad, bad girl.
10. I'm so getting dumped after this. I don't know. At least 10 to... I don't know. Maybe... Because you do kind of need variety. You have to know what you like.
See,
I don't
we
know.
started
I'm
with
saying
like...
over 10. Over 10.
We started with as low as possible. Now we're in double digits.
Well, Well, you're
Okay,
trying to keep
but
it
guys
as low
trying to
as
get
possible.
100, we're disgusting, right?
That's a tenth of that.
All right.
Okay,
See,
I
I
don't know.
thought that between girls, you'd all be like a little like, oh, embarrassed, like, oh,
7 sounds really kind of prudish. I mean, if these girls went to college or not.
I love this country. I mean, this is why conservative heads explode. Like Fox News watches this segment, they're like, 7 is prudish, right? Whereas I think like, all right, God bless. If you think 13 is the right number,
We have to
have at it, Hoss.
You
That
have
makes
to make
sense.
sure you count the college years where you do a little experimenting.
So now we're at 20.
I wouldn't hate anybody for having 20.
Okay.
I wouldn't judge.
You wouldn't judge
I
at
would
20.
not judge.
30.
30's a lot.
Okay, 30, we're beginning judgment.
I think
we're
it
beginning
depends
judgment?
on age. If you're in your 20s and it's around 20, who cares? If you're in your 30 and it's around 30s, who cares?
Oh, your age. That's a
yeah,
good.
I think
that's
the
a
age
good-
really different. If you're like 19 telling me you have like 37 partners, then I'm gonna judge you.
Right.
So this is
I love this spectrum of judgment. This is like the greatest conversation we've
I like
ever
to
had.
throw out as much as I
right.
can.
So is it different between men and women then? A guy with 20 is
Totally.
like whatever, it's fine. As
Well,
long
I
as he doesn't
mean-
get to triple digits.
I mean, guys are, I don't know if guys are going to have more than women, but like you said, guys are trying to get it in as much as they can. So that doesn't really bug me. I don't want to know how many people or how many girls the guy I'm with is dating.
Uh-huh.
So I just don't want to know.
You don't want to have any.
No.
So for guys, can we double our age? So if we're-
Sure.
but who's doubling their age? Nobody's doubling their age. Like you're at
If you
25 and you
can,
got
go
50
for
girls. If you did, you're a rock star. God bless your heart. You know, I'm proud of you. Okay, you're an all-American, but that's really hard. Right.
I would assume.
Of course, for women, ironically, it's much easier. But I love that we now have a range. You know, kind of your age / 20 to don't go all the way to 30.
If it's more than your age, I might be a little judgmental.
Okay. All right.
So.
Now we know. We try to inform here.
I try and do my best.
All right. By the way, I can talk about that poll all day long.
They had amazing percentages. I was kind of baffled by some of them,
Yeah.
but it was
Okay.
a great read.
All right. You know what? Let's take a quick break here, and let's come right back.